Strap on your ear goggles, bitches. It's time for some pop goulash. This week in the on the episode, I've got the only returning turd, and that's TERD, people, that I've had on the show. Coming through via the Skype line, I have Michael Baysinger. How's it going, Mike?
I got a bad feeling about this.
Oh man,
It's good, man.
I totally wish I could afford a soundboard right now.
That's
great.
literally just the Star Wars app.
Really? That's rad.
On iPhone. I'm just literally holding it up to a microphone. It's not that fancy.
That's awesome. So yeah, this week we're going to talk some Solo.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Han Solo.
right? Oh, I saw it opening morning. Not Thursday, but Friday morning.
Friday morning. Okay.
Yeah, I saw
it was early.
Yeah,
right?
I went to a 9:30 showing at the IMAX theater by my house. Yeah, well, I dropped the kids off, and I'm like, I had to go to therapy, and I went to my therapy appointment, and next thing you know, I'm like, I can make it. And I made it with time to spare, so it was rad.
That's awesome. Yeah, I went to the 7 p.m. showing. Mm-hmm. It started like 5 minutes late. Right down the pew from me. Right down the row from me was Chewbacca in my theater. Nice. Just hanging out. And I thought it was some dude on stilts, but it was just a really tall dude.
That's awesome.
It's crazy.
That's awesome. Like, I think it's really crazy, like, that this one is like 5 months on the heels of The Last Jedi.
Yeah, it definitely is crazy. I don't think we're going to see this again. I mean, no. I think we could see it again, but I think based on some of the numbers that they're getting from this first weekend or first 4 days or whatever, it may not be this close. Again. Yeah,
I think that hurt them. I know that they wanted to try to get the Memorial Day weekend, thing going, but I think this might have actually kind of kicked them in the ass.
Yeah, it did.
Especially being so close. It's like, damn, like, and granted, I am Star Wars through and through. I will go, you put it out like the day after The Last Jedi, and I've been like, where's my tickets?
Yep, I'm the same way.
But like, I can see for the general public, not only that, like I was reading an article today, and if for those of you who don't know, Michael and I are both pretty big Star Wars nerds. If you didn't listen to our Last Jedi episode back in December, I suggest you go check that out.
Yeah, just a few months ago.
Yes, a few short months ago. But this is going to be a spoiler-filled episode, as it will be released about 2 weeks after the movie. So if you haven't watched it by now, then go watch it, come back and listen. But
get your life right.
Here there be spoilers. So
yes.
But yeah, I was reading an article today that said that, it was not only was it contending with, because the box office has been, everybody's like doom and gloom, dismal, doom and gloom. But like, it's going to make its money.
Yeah.
I think this movie is going to be the slow burn Star Wars movie. What's
crazy about it is competing with other Disney properties such as Deadpool 2, even Infinity War,
which is still out there, and to a small extent, I think Black Panther is even still out in the theaters.
Yeah, I mean, I've got it on 4K, the Black Panther, and it is solid.
Yes.
But it's interesting that it's competing with that. But a couple things I would point out, though. So the Thursday before Memorial Day, it broke that record, which was held by, I think, one of the Pirates of the Caribbean films. So it still did break that Thursday record, but it just isn't doing the numbers that you'd expect it to do. But the competition is a lot more steep. And keep in mind that, it's not December. I mean, there's so many other movies right now, whereas December is typically a wasteland.
Yeah,
in terms of films.
Yeah, and and it's not, it's this opening weekend says nothing of the quality of this film.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people too. I think one small thing is like people see the role of Han Solo as such an iconic role that's been on Harrison Ford, like he is Han Solo as far as anyone cares. And then you bring in this Alden Ehrenreich character. Is that his name?
Alden Ehrenreich.
Ehrenreich.
It's Ehrenreich.
Right.
Yeah.
It's some Nazi German sounding name. But you bring in this new kid who I've never seen him in anything before. So like it was kind of cool that they would go with that. You know,
he was in Hail Caesar,
okay,
which I only saw part of just because I was interested to see what his acting chops were like.
Sure.
I mean, I didn't even finish it. I just recorded it because it was on TV. I was like, I think Alden's in that, so I'm going to check it out.
Not a good movie.
I didn't really invest that much time into it, honestly.
A movie about old-timey movies, but a Coen Brothers movie nonetheless.
Yeah, nonetheless.
But yeah, the kid was an excellent actor. Like he played the role well.
I'd say he captured the essence well. It
Right.
wasn't he wasn't doing an impression of Han Solo. He just was Han Solo, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, because he wasn't trying to be Harrison Ford. He was being
Correct.
Alden Ehrenreich, but he was also being Han Solo. So
Yeah.
it makes perfect sense that he was like, it's, as far as I'm concerned, he embodied the role. He had the snarkiness of Han Solo. But I mean, we're also this, if I'm not mistaken, from what I read, this movie takes place 10 years prior to A New Hope.
So I just heard that it was around 12 years, 12, 13 years. So I think it's give or take.
Right.
13 to 10 years before A New Hope.
Yeah,
is
yeah.
my
I mean,
thinking.
3 years, give or take. But
Yeah,
still,
basically.
there was still, God, you're thinking of like, at this point, Luke and Leia are just babies. They're toddlers at this point. So, there's a lot of like growing up to do. And you see it. You see that he's a young Han Solo.
Yeah,
And,
for sure.
And the thing that tripped me up the most was like, I paid no attention to any of the articles or anything like that. The only thing that I knew of the movie was some of the drama behind the scenes after they fired Lord and Miller. And then they hired in Ron Howard, might we say, did an excellent job directing a Star Wars flick.
He sure did, man.
And he knocked it out of the park. Because it didn't look like a Ron Howard film. And don't get me wrong, I like Ron Howard films. But this did not.
You're saying it didn't remind you of Willow?
No, not at all.
It had the guy from Willow in this movie.
I know, yeah. I was actually excited to see that Warwick Davis did make a cameo at the end.
Yeah, he made a cameo of Weasel, who appeared in episode 1 in the Boonta Eve race.
Really?
He was sitting next to Watu, or Watto, or however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that again.
He plays the same character.
Really?
So, yeah, spoiler alert, not the only episode 1 person mentioned in this
That's really
film.
Cool. That's very cool. I didn't put 2 and 2 together like that. But yeah, he was also, and many people don't know, or a lot of us do who are Star Wars nerds, but he was also Wicket the Ewok.
Yep, Wicket the Ewok.
And like you said, he was Willow in the movie of the same name. So
Directed by Ron Howard, and George Lucas produced the film.
Yes, he did. So yeah, it all comes around. So yeah, I was really like excited to see that he was in the movie. I was like, oh, it's like my childhood.
Yes.
But yeah, and so I had no idea. I knew Woody Harrelson was in it, and I've always liked Woody Harrelson. I don't think I've seen him in a movie that has sucked. Or at least I haven't seen him in a movie where he has sucked.
Yeah.
So like I was super stoked for that. Like he
was great in Hunger Games. He was great in Zombieland.
Dude, Zombieland is one of my favorite like Woody Harrelson movies of all time.
He was great in Cheers.
Yeah. And one of my favorite Woody Allen movies, and probably my only favorite Oliver Stone film, was Natural Born Killers.
Oh yeah.
And he was in that. Which the script was written by Quentin Tarantino.
Never heard of her.
Yeah. Who? So, but yeah. So like he was in it. Let me pull up my IMDb. But like the Queen of Dragons, the Mother of Dragons, was in it, which I had no idea. Yes, I had no idea Amelia Clarke was going to be in it. None.
You didn't know that?
I did not know that. Like I said, I seriously.
Did you watch the trailer?
I did, but like I'm used to seeing her with like powder white hair. Like
and no clothing on.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm
carrying a dragon egg.
Right. Somewhere,
Yeah.
But even when she was in the Terminator movie, when she was in Genesis, like I was like, oh, that's what she looks like with dark hair, which apparently is her natural hair color. So that was cool. Donald Glover was perfectly cast.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Perfectly.
Lando Calrissian.
Yeah.
He is another one that, like, the essence he really, really captured. And you could hear some of the beats in the way he spoke.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't an impersonation.
No.
But you could definitely feel Billy D. Williams in his performance.
Right. Again, it's a younger version of the character becoming who they are. I mean, it's like if you would have talked to yourself 13 years ago, you would see like the essence of who you are today, but you wouldn't be who you are today. So I think that the way that they embodied those characters, like, sets it up perfectly.
Yeah,
absolutely. Paul Bettany as Dryden, like I was like,
Dryden Voss.
I was like, holy shit! Like I was like, why does that? I'm like, that's the Vision. Why is the Vision competing in a movie that's competing with his other movie?
It's true.
But
he's Snoke. Dryden Voss he becomes Snoke is what happens.
Oh, is that what happens?
Prime Jedi.
Yeah.
Totally kidding.
Is that canon?
No, it's not. It's definitely not canon.
Right.
Spoiler: he dies in this film.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. John dies at the end. So,
yes.
But yeah, who else have we got here? I don't know who Phoebe Waller-Bridge is, but she provided the voice of the droid L3.
L3, yeah, dude, man.
She was excellent. Like,
she was
she just added that complete layer of snark that this movie needed. Like,
yeah. Here's the thing with L3 and with K2SO, which is Rogue One, and even R2D2. Are all droids sassy? Is that just a standard? They need to be sassy.
I think there needs to be a sassy droid. Otherwise, they're just slaves. They're tools.
Yeah. And it seems like there's so many, like, in all the Star Wars films, like, oh, we found the one sassy droid. All the other ones act normal, but here's Chopper from Rebels.
Right.
He's cantankerous old man.
Right.
It's interesting that it's one thing I've noticed is that all the major droids, at least the ones close to the main storyline of a Star Wars film, they have more personality than any other droid in the film.
Yeah, absolutely. The rest of the droids are, like I said, they're just there as background fillers. And
just there to be picked off the Naboo ship as they're getting attacked in Episode 1.
Sure, absolutely. Now, do you know...
Keep dropping those Episode 1
there you go.
references in there for you.
Now, the guy who played... Oh, he was. Okay, so the guy, Jonas Sour...
Yes, Jonas
Sour Tomatoes. He...
Yes.
The Finnish actor, he actually has played Chewbacca in the 3 most recent or Star Wars films. So, okay, I'm looking that up right now. And also, it looks like he was in the Lego Star Wars Force Awakens. Now, how that is possible...
I don't know how that is possible.
Unless he provided the motion capture for the...
maybe that's
it. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty star-studded cast. I mean, Jon Favreau was in it too.
Yeah, he was real. I picked that up on the when I was listening to it. I was like, I know that voice. It's that guy from freaking Rudy.
Yeah. Oh God, that's funny that you pulled Rudy. That's hilarious.
But Jon Favreau, interesting enough, Jon Favreau is producing the Star Wars television show.
Yeah. Now, is that going to be on the app exclusive?
I think it will be an app exclusive in streaming. Yeah. So it's, who knows, there aren't a whole lot of details out there about that series, but it is in the works, and it sounds awesome to me.
Damn you, Disney, for coming out with your own app, and now I'm going to have to spend more money, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, eventually they're going to drop everything from Netflix and move it to the app. So be prepared. Watch Frozen for the next 8 months. And
Moana.
Yeah.
But I think their thing is only going to drop next year. Sometime next year in 2019 is the Disney app, and is when that's coming. But yeah, so, and then who else?
More Star Wars content. So I will take that.
Oh, absolutely. Give
Sign
me
me up.
all of the Star Wars.
Yeah.
And even Anthony Daniels was in it.
Yeah, he was.
I'm sure he
but
played
not
a droid.
C-3PO. C-3PO and R2-D2 did not show up in this film,
which is
but
the
Anthony
first
Daniels
time
was.
ever in a Star Wars film we did not
Correct.
see the two droids. So they've broken their their vicious reign of being in every single Star Wars movie, which I was surprised.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but that they were the two characters that could be played by anybody, that could just be dropped in as tie-ins.
Yeah, but I don't know that you could do C-3PO without Anthony Daniels. At least the voice.
True, but at this point where they've got the new that Photoshop for voice, you could chop that up and you could
that's true.
I mean, at this point, I'm sure he's recorded every word you could possibly think of that C-3PO is going to say.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so whatever.
They had a Star Wars Christmas album that he did where he sang Christmas songs.
Oh.
It's kind of hard to find, but if you can find it, it's pretty phenomenal.
Really?
I've got a copy of it here, digital copy of it here somewhere. It's pretty awesome.
I can only imagine that it would be gloriously awful.
Yeah, I'll listen to it about once a year.
Right, at Christmas, just because you got to.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that fell on the heels of the original fabled Christmas special.
The holiday special.
Yeah.
I don't think it did, because there wasn't a whole lot of Christmas in the holiday special.
Right, it was, what was it, Life Day?
Life Day, yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, can I curse on this episode?
You can curse on any of our episodes.
Where the fuck was Lumpy?
Yeah.
Can we talk about this?
Well, yeah, like when they get to the, and that's what I was thinking too, like, they go to all right, so we're jumping way ahead into the movie. So they go to this planet where they're mining this fuel source, the raw fuel source.
Yes.
And it's, and might I just say, we'll go back to that. Anyway. Sorry, my mind's in like 17 different places right now. But yeah, so they go and they find, like, Chewbacca sees like a gang of other Wookiees that have been enslaved. Yeah. And he goes to free them, and I'm like, Chewie's finding his family. Like, this is all the family of
It's all coming together. There's his wife, Mala.
Right. Nope. And Lumpy the kid. Like, Chewie had a kid.
Yeah.
And they totally dropped the ball on that.
Yeah, they did. I had a problem. I know we're jumping way ahead, but sure. I had a problem with the bald-faced Wookiee.
He looked too much like an ape.
Well, yeah, there were no bald-faced Wookiees in Episode 3. Episode 3, you look at they go to Kashyyyk.
Right.
There's a still from that film with probably 50 Wookiees. Maybe 50 to 100 Wookiees. Somebody's going to count. There was actually 87 Wookiees.
There were 69, actually.
There were exactly 69 Wookiees, but none of them had bald faces.
Right.
Not a single one. So I don't know if this guy just has premature balding of the face.
It's that recessive gene, or he's the Clint Howard of the Star Wars world.
It's the Wookiee mullet.
Yes.
Is what that
is. Business in the front, party everywhere else.
Yeah. He is just rubbed all that hair raw.
Right.
That bothered me, and I understand why they did it. They did it because it's a fast-paced scene, and they need to differentiate between Wookiee and bald Wookiee.
True, but at the same point, they could have like if you read the comics, like there are other. Yeah, and I know you read the comics, but
I do.
I'm using the royal "if you" for the listeners out there. Like, if reading the Dr. Aphra book, there's Black Chrysanthemum, who's literally black, and that would have been awesome to see him make an appearance in this movie.
Yeah, he doesn't have a bald face.
No, not at all. Not at all, and he was a fucking badass to boot.
He is, man.
So, but yeah, like, when it came to the Wookiees, that was the one thing that I would think that, like, yeah, they did drop the ball there. So.
Yep, no Lumpy, got a bald face, no Mala. Yeah.
So, all right. So the movie actually starts off with, Han and the Mother of Dragons, because I can never remember her fucking name.
I'm just going to let you call her that because I think that's fine.
Right. Actually, I've got it right here.
Kira is her name in the movie.
Kira, yeah. So Han Solo and Kira Sedgwick are trying to they're escaping, and like this movie had like if anybody wanted to complain about The Last Jedi not having enough action in it, or even the Force Awakens just not being very actiony. This movie was nothing but action. Like,
almost to its detriment, because I love the mythology aspect of Star Wars. This had like no mythology.
No, none. Like
this was straight just action and heist movie.
Yeah, and you know what though? What else more would you want from a Han Solo movie? It has to be a heist.
If it's good, there's going to be a summer Star Wars movie. This was the right one for a summer release.
Yeah, because if you're doing a Han Solo movie, it has to be a heist movie. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He was a space smuggler. What else could you do with it? Like, what's he going to do? Go to, Naboo and save some Gungans? It's not going to happen.
I'd watch it.
I'd sure watch it. I would watch it as well. And, but like, it wouldn't be a Han Solo movie. It wouldn't be what you would want, out of a Han Solo movie. And I'm just hoping that, like, after people see it, the word of mouth spreads, and it's just a slow, like, oh, you got to see this movie. It's actually pretty damn good, Yeah. So we start off with them, like they're trying. Were they trying just to get off planet at that point, or were they just being chased?
They were So there was the giant vampire caterpillar slug.
Yes.
Proxima. She. What are they? I don't even remember what they were doing with her.
I don't know. I think like Han owed her a debt or something.
Oh, and he had the fake detonator.
Yes. Now, I will give
the biggest laugh in the movie, I think.
Yeah, for sure. But then, because she had the total like vampire, like I'm melting in the sun kind of thing going on. Yeah. But I will give them, like, dude, total props. Like, there were so many animatronics and puppets in this movie.
Yeah. Well, do you think that slug was a puppet?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, because I don't think that, like, that the CGI has gotten to that point where it would look that photorealistic yet. Yeah. Like, there's still a bit of uncanny valley there where you can, like, they can integrate it pretty well, but still...
I hope it's all CGI. I hope you're wrong. I hope they show, like, Han, they're actually... Alden Ehrenreich was not actually in this film. It was all just CGI.
Right. He's talking to a tennis ball.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I think that was a lot of, I think that it was a puppet. I really think that they used the puppetry going into it. And surprisingly, like, going back to the prequel trilogy, apparently there was a lot of animatronics and puppetry that went along with that as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But it was just the set pieces were all green screened, and that's let's not even go there.
Well, not even all of them. I mean, a
good chunk of them.
Attack the Clones was the main offender, I think. Yeah. But there was a lot of stuff added. But then, like, some of the Naboo scenes and stuff like that was just natural. I don't know. Some of it gets a lot worse rap than what it actually deserves in terms of percentage.
Right. So, but yeah. So then they finally, like, they get to, like, I don't know. They get to the border crossing, as it were, and then the decision has to be made. Like, they bribe their way through, and then of course they get double crossed, and next thing you know, Kira's getting left at the border, and Han Solo takes off for his adventure. And
he joins the Imperial Navy.
Yes, yeah, because it's the only way that he can get onto the ship to get off get off planet, which, from what I hear, is actually kind of canon in the books.
Yes.
Like back in the day.
Back in the day, he was, spent some time as a pilot in the Imperial Navy. But I don't know if he got kicked out or if he deserted. I'm not sure which way that went.
Right.
A little foggy and all that.
But. Right. Well, I do enjoy the fact that, like, I didn't, I've never read any of the books, but, I do know some of the lore just through secondhand information and stuff that. So, like, I'm glad to see that even still they're incorporating some of that old, what do they call it? The
expanded universe.
The old expanded universe.
Legends is what it's called now. Legends.
Right. Yeah. So the old legend stuff, they're actually incorporating some of that stuff now into current continuity.
I think originally in, like, the old expanded universe, Hans, how he got his name was he had several different aliases that he went under, and that was just one of them was Han Solo.
Gotcha.
But I don't know that we really needed that explanation for his surname. I don't think anybody really cared.
Oh, in the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of interesting to see them do that, though.
I was just like, eh. I feel like this film and a lot of the contents in there were things nobody really cared to know, if that makes sense. I don't know that anybody was really begging to have a Han Solo film. That said, I'll watch it. I will watch it and I will enjoy it. But there's a lot of things in this film that I think like they are like the way that they presented it was like, we know you were really wanting to know how Han Solo got his name. And it was kind of like a wink and a nod, but like nobody really was asking that question.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But like the big stuff though, like the Kessel Run, we finally got to see this fabled Kessel Run that he never shuts up about. Like,
yeah. And I thought it was going to be a race.
Yeah. So did I. The way that the way that it always kind of set it up in the movie was like, well, they never really like talked about it much. So you're like, all right, well, what is this? What the fuck is a Kessel Run? And parsecs isn't a distance of measurement, you know? So yeah, like we finally got to see what that was all about. And I
did think it was really cool, even though it wasn't a race like I assumed it was.
Right.
I did think that part of the film was pretty awesome.
Well, I mean, in a sense, it was a race. It was a race against time.
Yeah, a race against the void, I guess.
Yeah. So, but that was cool, and to find out that, like, you know, they had to go through this big, like, space storm to get to it, and, you know, he did it 8 parsecs shy of what the current record was, and yada yada yada. That was kind of cool. Seeing the meetup between Han and Chewie, like how they started their relationship. I totally thought that was a Sarlacc coming out. Yeah, and here.
Or not a Sarlacc, a Rancor.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, they set it up just like they set up Luke getting thrown into the pit in Episode 5. You know, but yeah, I thought that was pretty dope. You see the big wet, muddy Wookiee coming out of the corner. But
yeah, that was pretty cool.
But like having Han speak Wookiee was kind of stupid.
I like that part. That's
really
funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely stupid, but it was also pretty I don't know, charming, because we never heard a human speak Wookiee.
This is true, but
they always speak basic.
Right, but at the same time, they only did it the one time. Like, in that scene was, like, really the only time he spoke it. Now, granted, like, if you're going to speak Wookiee through the whole scene, like, through the whole movie, it's going to get kind of tiresome. But at the same time, it's like, it'd be really kind of cool if they would have, I don't know, if they would have used it more.
I think how they used it was appropriate. So in that particular scene when he's speaking, I don't know what the language is, Wookiee or Kashyyyk. It's called something different. Mm-hmm. And when he's speaking, he's trying to build trust with Chewie so Chewie doesn't kill him. So I get why he did it. Like in that, if there's ever a moment to speak somebody in their actual language, it's when they're trying to kill you, and you need to earn some sort of sympathy with them.
This is true. This is very true. Yeah. I see your point. And then you know, the introduction of how the Millennium Falcon came into the hands of Han Solo as well. And I love the fact that he truly didn't win it until the very end.
Yeah. And even then he cheated to win.
But did he though?
He stole the card from Lando.
Yes, but he didn't.
That's how he got the green card.
He never played it though.
Well,
he stole the card from Lando. No, he didn't play it. He won the game fair and square. He even said it at the end. Because his hand actually beat Lando's, because he's like, if I had this card that you had up your sleeve, and he kind of threw it on the table. But he's like, but I got these, and he actually won the game fair and square. Because he won it fair and square. Yeah,
I thought he was using the green card as like a trump to may he rest in peace. Gosh. Right. I wish.
It totally
Emperor Trump. God, I just wrecked it. There's shipwrecked this whole episode.
Right. That just
by mentioning the Dark Lord Trump.
Right.
But he played it as a Trump. Let's just use it like it's proper.
Right.
To win the game is what I thought. I could be wrong. I need to watch this 499 more times.
Absolutely. But yeah, no, he, as far as I know, he gave him the hug. He knew about the fake card. Or the little device that Lando had, snatched the card, and at the end he's like, "Ho ho!" Lando puts down his cards. He's like, "Oh man, don't you wish you could win?" And he's like, well, you would have if you would have had this card that I took from you. And he threw it down. He's like, but here are mine. So and he's like, he even mentioned to the fact, he's like, I didn't even have to cheat to win it or something like that. And then he walks off with Chewbacca into the sunset. But yeah, I mean, it was cool. And I know I know that this movie was a bit of fan service as well, kind of like how you feel about Rogue One, but still, I think that this movie, although it probably didn't need to happen, it was awesome that it happened. It was awesome that you got to see so many things in this movie.
Yeah,
there was so.
I
many
did feel
Easter
like it was
eggs.
less fan service than Rogue One. But I mean, maybe not. Maybe it's not. I think it could be viewed as more fan service. I guess there are a lot more. I don't know. I think the fan service fit a little bit better. Whereas with Rogue One, when you saw the guy from Tatooine, the death sentence guy from the bar,
who just showed up in Dr. Aphra's comic.
What'd you say?
He just showed up in the, maybe not the most recent, but the issue before of Dr. Aphra.
Oh yeah, I mean, he does have the death sentence in many systems.
Right.
So I mean, obviously if you've got that many death sentences, you have to be in multiple places all the time.
Right.
So.
Right.
But that said, yeah, that guy is just a little bit like, where's Waldo?
Mm-hmm. Did you ever
popping up at wherever?
Yeah. Did you ever see the robot chicken that they
I
were
did.
in? And he's like, no, I'm not saying. It's like his big abominable snowman creature guy buddy. He was like, no, I never said any of that stuff. Oh, that was the best. But yeah, the guy showed up in Dr. Aphra as this deranged doctor that's like removing people's heads and making cyborgs of people. I don't know if you've caught up.
Yeah, I am caught up, but I do not remember that. I don't remember. Maybe I didn't make the connection. It's possible I haven't read that one. I've got a stack here of books I haven't read yet, so that may be one that I haven't read yet.
Spoiler alert! I'm sorry, dude.
That's all right. I'll know.
But yeah,
I'll know once I read it.
Yeah, he's not actually in it, but they talk about him, and he shows up on a monitor because they talk about like the shit that he's done and how horrible of a human or horrible of a person this creature is. So. But yeah,
nice.
it was pretty interesting. I was like, oh, that's that guy.
It's that guy.
Yeah. But there was definitely, a fair amount of humor in this. And, I love the fact that, like, the dice kept making an appearance.
Yeah.
But yeah, the amount of, like, action, like I said it before, man, the amount of action in this movie is just second to none, man. I mean, it was on go from the start, and yeah. I don't know, like at the very beginning they just had like the text at the beginning.
Yeah, why not just do a crawl?
Like it just made me want a crawl, or like why not have like they've never done it before, but you could have somebody do a voiceover of what that was.
They did a voiceover in the Clone Wars theatrical release.
That's right, they did.
They did, and it was not bad. It was a little bit off-putting at first, but now that we're used to there not being a crawl from time to time, it's not that bad.
Right, but it was like, oh, so you're just gonna keep flashing words at me? Like I'm like, if I'm gonna read, do it in a crawl. Like
just put it all in one paragraph. Seriously. Why not just one paragraph? Why do we have to act like
it's a BuzzFeed article?
Fit 8 words on the screen at a time.
Seriously,
I don't know.
It was a BuzzFeed article. I felt like I kept having to hit next just to see another ad. But yeah, so I mean that was one thing that did that was kind of a like, all right, I get it. You have to set up some backstory for Han Solo, but I was like, God damn it, just give me a fucking crawl. You've trained me for 40 years to want to look for a crawl. Don't give me just blue text on the screen.
And why do it in the same font?
Yeah.
Just obnoxious.
Right. God damn it, Ron Howard. But yeah, that being said, I liked the Clint Howard cameo in it. That was pretty good.
Yep. I fully expected that. And going back to the dice for a second.
Yes.
You knew in The Last Jedi, as soon as you saw those fucking dice, that they were going to show up in this film, right?
Right. Yeah, because I mean, like, they were in the originals. You just
a little heavy-handed.
But you never really, I never noticed them. And that's one other thing, like when Luke handed her the dice, didn't Luke hand Leia the dice?
Yeah. Yes.
How did they vanish with him?
Yeah, they did. No, they hung out for a little bit longer, and then they vanished later in that movie.
All right, yeah, I couldn't quite remember. It's been a while since I've seen it. I just bought it. It's like $14 on iTunes right now, so I finally bought it. So
nice.
Yeah.
And the dice in the original versions of A New Hope, I think they were just like regular dice.
Really?
They didn't have the Aurebesh on them.
Gotcha. And they weren't gold.
Were they not gold? I think they might have been gold.
They might have been. I'm not quite sure.
I don't know.
Like, I never really noticed them until, like, Force Awakens was the first time because they like made like in the articles and everything going up to it, they made such a big deal. Oh, it's the Millennium Falcon's back, and it's got the dice. And I'm like, there were dice, and I'm like, oh yeah, there were dice.
I know. That's the kind of like tongue in cheek, like they think that they're putting something on you, like that's just heavy handed. Whereas like the mentions of like Aura Singh and Bosk, I appreciate those more than, hey, here's the dice. Hey, here's how Han Solo got his name.
Right.
Like it's just heavy handed a little bit. Whereas just be subtle, be cool about it, man.
Right. Absolutely. And then when they were in Dryden's office or his quarters up at the top, that ominous backlit in shadow Mandalorian armor.
I know.
Like,
and they never focused on it, which is super obnoxious.
I thought that was awesome though. Like, because it was there and it was almost, I mean, it's definite foreshadowing. Absolute foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing of what?
Of Boba Fett coming on and getting him later. Like, if you look at it, like, he's in the shadows there. And it's kind of how it shows up later on. And
but it's not actually Boba Fett. It's just the costume, right?
No, it's just the Mandalorian armor.
Okay.
Which is, their armor. So, and so I dug that. I thought that was rad. Like, I was like, oh, is there going to be a Mandalorian that's going to step out?
It's going to be Sabine Wren.
Yeah, right. Which would have been cool if they would have brought her into it. Like, there were so many character opportunities that, like, I feel like I'm shitting on this movie. I'm not, but there are so many other opportunities that they could have brought into this movie that they didn't. Like,
for sure.
Like bringing in Dr. Afra or Sana. Oh man, if they would have brought her in, that would have been cool. I fully expected
Sana Solo to be in this.
Actually, part of me thought that like the Woody Harrelson's girlfriend bit, I thought before she introduced herself, before she was introduced, I thought she was going to be Sana.
Yep, so did I.
And I'm like, oh well, I guess she's not. So, but yeah, and I like it was cool how like, I mean, even sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm scatterbrained. It's been a long time.
No, it's fine.
But like you could have had them in it. Like there's such like an expanded canon now. Like like I said, you could have had Black Chrysanthemum show up, which would have been dope. Like I would have paid twice the ticket price to see him and Wookiee throw down. He and Chewbacca throw down.
Yeah, that
would have been cool. That would have been really cool.
Yeah, IG-88. We could get a sweet IG-88 appearance. Forlom. Or for LOM, and who's his partner, Zuckuss. Yeah. Any of those like bounty hunters would be sweet
for sure.
Any original trilogy aliens, like I fully expected there to be more original trilogy aliens, and like they fucking forgot how to make them or something. It's crazy. You don't see any hammerheads. You don't see. I did see one Rhodian in the film, but you don't see. The people that you see in the cantina, you don't see those aliens throughout these films. And it's kind of obnoxious because, and I get that like, it's a very big universe. Well, every once in a while, show us something we want to see.
Yeah. Throw us a bone.
Yeah.
Well, but then again, like they keep setting it up, because I know that all the actors have signed on for 3 movies. Now, hopefully the opening of this film doesn't cancel those other 2 movies out, because I think that like, you can continue with these characters and make this a really good, trilogy of events, or even fold them into other movies.
Well, you got to keep in mind, too, they signed the actors in Rogue One up for 3 films as well.
Yeah, that's true.
And that that shit ain't going anywhere.
Yeah,
like
they're not gonna put Jyn Erso in somewhere else.
Yeah,
but all of those
dead.
characters are dead too, so there's not much you could do there. But pretty much all the main cast made it out alive.
Yes, that's very true. I think what we could see, and it is more likely to happen, is there to be a Boba Fett film with Han Solo and Lando in it, or a Lando film with Boba Fett and Han Solo.
If they did a Lando film that was at least loosely based on the comic series that they put out, that'd be rad.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be rad. But
it's one of the best runs in the current Marvel runs that they've had is that Lando miniseries. They're doing another Lando miniseries here shortly.
Yes, and I do know that they are planning a Boba Fett movie as well. That's the next one. So
yep, there is a Boba Fett movie in the works. There's a couple other trilogies they're working on.
Yes,
the Game of Thrones guys are working on one, and then Rian Johnson is working on a trilogy.
Yes.
Then there's also a Kenobi film in the works.
Yeah, if
McGregor is pushing hard.
Yeah, if they don't get Ewan McGregor in that role, then they're failing miserably.
My understanding is what I've seen online is that he is pushing hard for it. So there's nothing official on that, but from some of the different podcasts I've listened to, it's those wheels are in motion.
Right.
Another thing that I did hear, and it was on a interview with Kathleen Kennedy for a French publication, and the translation from French to English, she said that the next film would be Lando, because of how well that character was portrayed, and how, obviously, why wouldn't they want Donald Glover for as many films as possible? The dude's blowing up right now. But since then, they've backtracked that a little bit and said that, that's not, there was a mistranslation, and that she was saying that they could see a Lando film down the road, and that, he would be it would be a great story. Right. So who knows what we're going to actually see next. The only movie they've officially announced in terms of what they're doing is the episode 9.
Right.
So they haven't even officially announced Boba Fett yet. That's just
speculation.
Rumored speculation. And I think there's some evidence of that, but no official announcement, which is on par for Disney.
True. But now, do you think, like, if they do a Boba Fett movie, do you think they should, and I'm trying to find the actor that played him.
Daniel Logan?
Yeah, do you think that they should put Daniel Logan in the movie?
Yes, and Daniel Logan is ready for this.
Really?
I've listened to several interviews with him, and he is working out. He's the dude has for the last 10 years been focused on coming back to portray Boba Fett.
Really?
I don't think he'll get it.
No.
I just don't think he's that talented of an actor. But dude's working out. He's training.
He played Boba. He actually voiced Boba in the Clone Wars TV series too.
Yep.
But now he doesn't really look much like the guy who played Jango, who is his clone father. So that would be interesting to see how they did that. So
yeah,
but I think
the Boba Fett in the Clone Wars looked more like Daniel Logan than it did the other guy, the main guy. Okay. And they had 3 different actors play the adult version of what's his name, Jango Fett, because during the clone, there was Daniel Logan, there was the main guy, the older Jango Fett, and then there was another guy in between there, who was in that the clone sequence.
Right. Ooh.
So
here is something interesting. Now, I don't know if this is going to come to pass, but it's showing here on IMDb that there is going to be a TV series called Star Wars Underworld.
Okay, so I do know a little bit about Underworld.
Is this animated?
No. So about Star Wars Underworld, it's not going to happen.
It's not? Okay.
Sorry to let you down.
Okay,
Underworld
it's showing in development, expected December 15th of this year.
Oh yeah, George Lucas had, I believe, 50 scripts written for that when George Lucas was still in control of Lucasfilm.
Sure.
He had 50. The guy from Battlestar Galactica, Ron Moore, actually pins several episodes, and from my understanding, it was a pretty kick-ass story and series of stories. But they just couldn't afford to make it happen in a way that would be cost effective because it's George Lucas and he doesn't understand budgets.
Right. Well, here's an interesting thing is that, hold on one second. I just dropped my headphones. Yeah, no, but if you look at Ronald Moore and you look at George Lucas, they look kind of the same.
You're right. They sure do.
Like he looks like a long-haired George Lucas. They have that same underwhelming chin. like they do. They look quite similar. Yeah. That would actually, man, yeah, now that I look at it, like Star Wars City.
When we're talking about Ronald Moore, this was like right after Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
It was like his follow-up to Battlestar Galactica. I don't know what he's done since then, but it was like in the prime of his writing 50 scripts of this film or of this TV show.
He's been doing
it's sad,
Outlander.
so sad. And I think they've doled out some of the storylines and stuff to other aspects of Star Wars, whether it be books or, I think they're scavenging those 50 scripts pretty hardcore.
Something. Yeah.
So I don't think we'll ever see it, but
well, hopefully if they scour the scripts and they get something else put together for it, hopefully for the love of God, they will they'll update the dialogue because jeez Louise, get Kevin Smith to write the dialogue for Christ's sake, because Lucas dialogue is just lost upon him.
Well, they also did the people behind Robot Chicken, Seth Green. They did Star Wars Detour, esque Star Wars show, but it was spoofed. It spoofed Star Wars so hard. Whenever they Disney bought it, they canned it, and they had several episodes in the can.
Really?
They got rid of it because they didn't want anybody making fun of Darth Vader for a while, because it had become this joke. Star Wars had, it's a trap, right. That whole, all the jokes. So between Family Guy and Robot Chicken, they wanted to basically get rid of all the Star Wars jokes and bring it back to a more serious level. And so that's why they canned Star Wars Detours.
Hold on one hot second.
Yeah.
No worries.
Is it Ringo?
Yes. It was about as big as Ringo's ego.
Okay.
My wife's like, it's an inch long. So,
that's what she said.
Yeah, right. It is. That's exactly what she said. I cannot deny it. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, because, God, sorry.
Detours.
Yeah. But yeah, that'd be cool to see some of that stuff like surface at some point. You know, it probably never will, but it would be cool.
It'll be hidden on some extra bonus disc somewhere.
Right, that you're going to have to find at a Comic-Con that's been bootlegged and bootlegged and bootlegged and bootlegged.
Yeah, from my understanding is it is out there, but only in very small circles, and it's highly protected.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, all right. Back to Solo. So yeah, I mean, I dug, like I said before, I dig the fact that it was a heist movie, and we didn't only get one heist, we got two heists out of this movie.
Yeah, there were several.
Yeah, and I liked that, I just found it interesting that both of the heists were over fuel.
Yeah. It is, and super, super powerful fuel.
Yeah. Like, destroyed an entire mountain fuel, which that sequence was freaking dope.
Yeah.
Just the whole train heist. Like, you never see train heists anymore. So that was cool, man. I dug that.
Yeah, it was definitely unique in the way that it looked, and for a Star Wars film to have a train heist, they did a good job with it.
Yeah, it was definitely like, I got feelings of Snowpiercer. Did you ever see Snowpiercer?
I did not.
Dude,
I do know what you're talking about.
Snowpiercer was pretty badass, man. It was a pretty badass movie. Definitely highly recommended. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it is still on Netflix right now.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's got it's got Captain America in it, so it's
okay.
Yeah.
I might have watched. I don't remember. Was there a train heist in that one?
No, there wasn't a train heist, so to speak, but it was definitely like Tilda Swinton was in it as well, and it was just like
the White Witch.
Yes, and it was the whole movie, like basically like there was a nuclear winter, and there's this one train that just keeps going around and around and around. It's class warfare on a train. It was pretty badass.
Did Captain America play a Winter Soldier?
Haha, I see what you did there. See, it's funny because the best film with a train heist, Back to the Future 3. You're welcome. Okay. Okay. I can see that.
I'm just throwing it out there. I just got to get my Back to the Future jokes in.
Right. So yeah, it's you don't get to see. I mean, there are no westerns anymore, so to speak. I mean, there are, but nobody watches them unless
Cowboys and Aliens is what it's the most recent one I remember.
Well, I mean,
and then Brokeback Mountain.
Well, Tarantino did his too. I mean, he did his Django, and he did Hateful Eight as well. So
Django Unchained is on my DVR right now. I need to watch it.
Have you ever seen it?
I have not.
Oh my god, it's a great movie.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. It's
Mace Windu's in that, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is, and he plays a house slave that hates black people. But yeah, Sam Jackson's amazing in that, like he is in pretty much everything else that he is in.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I was surprised too in Solo that like in any of the, quote unquote cantina gambling type scenes that they had, Maz Kanata was not in any of them. It would have been a perfect.
You would expect it,
especially in the last scene. Like that would have been a nice little like nod to the Last Jedi. You know, or even to The Force Awakens.
Yeah, and I think that it's with Maz, the actress who plays Maz Kanata, her name is escaping me right now.
Lupita Nyong'o.
I'm sorry?
Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah. Lupita, she was contractually obligated to be in 3 films. Or Star Wars was contractually obligated to have her in 3 films. And that's why she's in The Last Jedi versus Billy D. Williams being in The Last Jedi, because that would have been a perfect role for Billy D.
True.
To point the team to a freaking casino. How great would have that been?
Yeah, but I think we talked about it. Like I guess they were trying to get Billy D in, and he just doesn't have it anymore.
Roll him. He will do it. He will definitely do it. Billy D. Williams is up to do Lando Calrissian, even if he's in a wheelchair or the bottom half of his body is robot legs. he would do it.
Right. Yeah, but from what I heard though, like he just doesn't have his acting chops anymore. He doesn't have that swagger. Like that's why
he's Billy D. Williams. He doesn't have to act. He is Lando Calrissian.
This is true. Give him a Colt 45 and watch him shine.
Just have him sip on that Colt 45 and he is set.
Right. So yeah, but it would have been cool because not only like and I'm going back to Maz here, like that would have established the relationship between her and Chewie. You know? Because that's the first thing she says. Han Solo, where's my boyfriend? Like that's the first thing she says. Yeah, I would
rather her show up in this film than to show up in Episode 9, which is coming out.
Yeah. So like that would have been great for that. I mean, it would just been that perfect little nod,
Yep.
And I do also enjoy the fact that Han finally got to shoot first again.
Yes. Thank goodness.
And I'm not one of those purists. It's like, oh, Han shot first. I can't believe they made Greedo shoot first and blah, blah. I get it. Like the new generation, Han's got to be a hero, blah, 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 blah. But even then, like he was a space bastard. Like, he should have still continuously shot first. But
Han's got to shoot first. Chewie has to rip arms out of their sockets.
Oh my God, that was so awesome. That was epic.
That's what they've got to do.
Right? But yeah, I love the fact that they finally showed that too. He's holding the two arms. He's like, that's the one uniform that would have fit me. That was great. Oh my God. But yeah, when they went to that mining planet, that was a pretty interesting scene as well. Like, do they just always like go to planets where they could just breathe the air naturally without any assistance?
More or less, yes.
I think the only time I've ever seen
sometimes they put the nebulizer mask on, but
I think I've only seen that once. And that's when they were in the worm.
On a comet. Yeah. It was the space worm.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was overall, like, I was thoroughly happy with this movie. Like, It gave me everything that I wanted from a Han Solo movie that I didn't know that I wanted.
Now that I think about it, there were a couple planets where they had to have like spacesuits on in the Clone Wars, and then also some straight water planets where they had to have basically breathing devices to breathe.
Right. Well, in the cartoon series?
Yes.
Okay.
Clone Wars.
Yeah, I'm still not through the Clone Wars yet. So.
That's all right. I'll forgive you.
All right. Well, you got shit going on, man.
Yeah. You got kids though. Now it's perfect reason to watch Clone Wars.
Yeah, but he's still, like, my oldest is still too young, I think.
How old's your oldest?
He'll be 4 in September.
Oh yeah, probably.
You know, I got him to watch, like, he'll watch A New Hope, and I tried to get, like, I made the mistake of putting on Empire Strikes Back, and I'm like, it's a little too dark for a 3-year-old. But then I tried to put on, I'm like, oh, you'll like the Ewoks, right? Because he's a kid.
Yeah.
And like I put on Jedi, and all he wanted to see were the scenes with the Ewoks. So I had to keep fast forwarding. He saw about 25 minutes of the movie. So I'm like, all right, whatever.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
My 4-year-old loves Jurassic Park right now. So,
really?
Well, he's about to turn 5, but that's still way too young to be watching Jurassic Park. But He loves it.
Yeah,
so.
For sure. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, it all is going to come with time. You know?
Yes.
So I figure I'll give him until he's like 4. And then I'm like, all right, boy, you and me are going to sit down. I'm done watching this Paw Patrol bullshit. So, oh my God, so much Paw Patrol.
Oh, the Paw Patrol. We're on Bubble Guppies now. I think did we talk about Bubble Guppies last time?
I do not believe we did. No,
I feel like, man, who knows?
Yeah, it's you know, it's been a Star Wars minute since we spoke.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So, but yeah, I mean, it was fantastic. Do you know? I know you spoke with Billy yesterday.
I don't. No, Saturday.
Saturday, gotcha. Did you guys go? I know that he and Nita just went to go see it again today.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah. Gosh, I wish I had the time to have gone to see it again.
Me too. I was really hoping to get another viewing in before today.
Yeah.
Did you catch the Aura Singh and the Bosk mentions in the film?
I don't know if I did.
So Aura Singh, she was in episode 1. She was a bounty hunter. She was the all white pasty bounty hunter in the pod racing scene. She had the long rifle, some red hair. Okay. I think she had a spike too. Anyway, Dryden Voss killed her, or at least somebody said you killed Aura Singh, and he said, well, I didn't really kill her. I pushed her, and the fall killed her.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was another episode 1 reference, which I thought was pretty sweet. And she's also, Aura Singh, last we know in the current continuity outside of her dying was she was the last owner of Slave One.
Okay.
So she owned Slave One from Boba in the Clone Wars.
Interesting. Okay. Very interesting.
And then Bosk was mentioned as well in the film, which
he was another bounty hunter, right?
What'd you say?
He was another bounty hunter?
Yes, he was Trandoshan.
Was he the lizard one?
Lizard-looking dude.
Yeah, okay. Very cool. Yeah, because I actually think I used to have his action figure when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, yellow suit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That'd be the one. Actually, it's probably still around here somewhere in a bin.
I have one somewhere for sure.
So that's very cool. Yeah, I mean, I just love the nods that they give. Like, I just wish that I wish that they would have pushed this movie out another 6 months. I like it hurts my soul to know that the movie is not performing well.
Yeah, and it sucks that we're going to have to wait another year and a half before we get another film.
Right, absolutely. It's like, I like this 12-month pacing. It just seemed to do me, I think it was just right at the moment you were like, all right, bring me another one.
Yes.
It's like you just had like this epic meal, and right about the time that you're like, all right, I'm going to get up. Okay, bring me another one. It's just, the pacing was, movie every year was just perfect. And now they're like, oh, hey, you know what? We know you're full, but here's another serving. And you're like,
I'd like to see a movie every 6 months, and I think they could pull it off. I mean, nobody's really sick of Marvel. You know what I mean?
You know what though? It seems like financially they're not, but like I think you to comic book people, like we're not tired of these movies. And I mean, granted, for the general public, we're not tired of these either. But I think like if you go online, and anybody's like, oh man, Infinity War was awesome, you got 15 guys like immediately blow it. I'm tired of all these superhero movies. Why don't they have an original idea in Hollywood? They're ruining all the jobs for all the people who are making movies, and they're not hiring new properties. There are no new ideas. And I'm like, I talked to Leo about this last week, and he's like, he feels too, as a comic book creator, he's like, yeah, I feel that there's way too many. There is a bit of an oversaturation going on in the superhero field as far as movies are concerned. He's like, because now like you got all these other movie studios buying up all this independent stuff, and they're just putting out product. They're not putting out anything of quality or of use. And I read, right after Infinity War came out, there was, I got to stop reading the goddamn comments for one.
Yeah, you really should.
But somebody was actually saying to the effect of like, oh, well, the industry is, the comic industry is dying. All these movies, that are coming out, they're just diminishing the characters, and nobody's going back to read the source material. And, people are like, oh, I love Marvel, but they mean the movies. They don't mean the comics. I'm like, you know what? Maybe the comic industry has been dying for 20 years. Maybe this is the only opportunity that these characters have to live on.
Yeah, and honestly, if the backstories and shit in the comics weren't so convoluted,
sure.
And they are just a hot mess. All the different continuities. If there was a way to enter into some of these stories at a fresh spot, it may be better. And I do think there's an opportunity in the comic books. Because I think there are some, because you've got some comic books that are just huge. Walking Dead is huge.
For sure.
Saga is another one that you and I have both read, and
absolutely,
and it's huge. It's a huge book. It's one of the biggest books, and it doesn't have anything to do with superheroes, though.
No, not at all. But then, I was thinking about other properties that are out there that like have been devoid of actual comic books. Like I've been thinking about the movie Hancock. Have you ever seen Hancock?
I have.
It's an excellent movie.
Yep.
I enjoyed it thoroughly. And I'm not even a big Will Smith fan, but I was like, this is kind of a cool take on a superhero movie that is an original movie. But then again, it's like The Last Jedi. It's like any other type of genre. They're like, well, we want it more like this. Okay, well, here it is. No, not like that. We want it new and fresh. Okay, well, here's something new and fresh. No, not that. We wanted it the way we wanted it when I was 12.
Yeah, and that's the problem, is you're never going to get there. You're never going to get back to the way you were when you were 12, because you have idealized that time so much that it'll never get there.
Right.
And so I'm a Star Wars fan, but whenever I say I'm a Star Wars fan, that means I'm a Star Wars fan. I like 100% of Star Wars. There are parts of it that I don't like as much, but I'm still going to like it. It's like asking me what my favorite candy bar is. What's my least favorite candy bar? Attack of the Clones is my least favorite candy bar.
Right.
But I'm still going to fucking eat Attack of the Clones. I'm still going to do that. If you only like 30% of the films, there's 10 films out by Star Wars right now. If you only like 30%, the original trilogy, you don't like Star Wars. You don't even like half of Star Wars.
You like the original trilogy.
You like the memory you have of the original trilogy, because even the original trilogy, you go back and watch that.
It's pretty flawed.
The shit you're complaining about with the new series, it's in the old series too.
Right.
People complained about episode 4. They complained about C-3PO and R2-D2 being too much like cartoon characters, too childlike, too toyish.
Right.
They complained about the dark ending of Empire Strikes Back. When Empire Strikes came out, when Empire came out, like, people fucking hated that ending. They really did. And it wasn't until 3-4 years removed from the film that people were like, oh man, that was really great.
Oh yeah.
The storytelling was awesome. And then Return of the Jedi with all the Ewoks, people hated the Ewoks. Muppets. People hated that stuff.
Yeah.
And to pretend like, oh, like the first 3 films were so great. You're missing the point.
Right.
If you're going to a movie to critique it, you've lost the whole point of why you go to the movie in the first place.
Right. Just
enjoy
damn brain off and enjoy it.
Yep. And I think that's what Han, the Solo film is it's you have to go into it expecting just a wild ride and just enjoy it. Because if you're going to critique it, you're going to find flaws in it. Same with The Last Jedi, same with The Force Awakens. You're going to find exactly what you hate in all of those if you look for them.
Absolutely.
Or you could just enjoy the movie.
Right. Well, that's kind of how I felt about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I mean, I loved it. Like, it was, look, you got to watch Indiana Jones do Indiana Jones shit again.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
I was in the theater for episode 1 at midnight. Everyone walked away from that movie loving it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I don't care what anybody says now. And people loved that movie. And then, with the help of the internet, they all started hating it because it's easy to hate shit, man.
Oh, yeah.
It just is. It's easy to hate. It's easy to tear apart things. Why not just enjoy it? Why not embrace wonder?
Right. Absolutely.
All right.
Now,
and rant.
Yeah. I mean, it was like you said, it's never going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. And
honestly, if you really only like the first 3 films of Star Wars, you don't like Star Wars. You really don't.
Right. Yeah.
You like 3 films of Star Wars. Don't tell me you're an OG fan.
Right. Oh, well, Empire was the best. Okay. Yes. So did everybody.
I do think the Empire is, like, categorically the best film. It's not my favorite, though.
Right.
I do think the storytelling in Empire and actually A New Hope, both are so fundamentally great structures for story.
True.
But they're not my favorite.
Right.
Neither one of them are.
Mm-hmm.
But.
Well, I enjoy the fact that Lawrence Kasdan had his thumbprint on this one too.
Good old Larry.
Like,
yep.
It felt that, and I think that tie there made it feel like a Star Wars film.
Yeah, for sure.
And even though John Williams only co-wrote the Han Solo theme.
Yeah, I didn't know he co-wrote. I thought he actually wrote the theme.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And then the rest of it was John Powell.
Right. And even Powell took elements from, other Star Wars.
Williams.
John Williams stuff throughout the score. But it felt like a Star Wars movie. And you know what? I've loved since the original trilogy is that every film that's come out has had a slight variation on the Stormtrooper costume.
Oh, yeah.
The helmet is just a bit different every time the movies come out, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Even in this film, the helmet was a slight variation on previous helmets.
Even in Rogue One, which is right next to A New Hope in terms of continuity.
Right.
Yeah, and I hate to be the cynical bastard in this one, but it's to sell toys.
Oh, of course.
I mean, that's the whole point of changing. And same with the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
The reason they gave it that escape pod was not for story dynamics, which they tied it in really nicely, but they needed to make it different. Same reason why they changed the satellite dish in episode 7 is because they needed to sell different Millennium Falcons. Well, I get it.
Yeah. Well, they changed the satellite on the Falcon, 3 times, 4 times?
Yeah.
So
making money.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, this one.
But I do like it. And I'm not trying to shit on it, but it's cool.
Well, and
who doesn't
want
all those action figures? I do.
Right. The one thing I was a little disappointed was I was hoping that they would have kept the escape pod on until throughout the movie, because if I'm not mistaken, when we meet Lando for the first time in Empire, doesn't he make a comment about how he's made some modifications to the ship?
Yes, for sure.
So, like, that would have been, a cool little, take. Oh, he jettisoned the escape pod.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
Because really, fundamentally, the ship doesn't
such
look
bad
that
shape
different.
by the end of this film.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a lot of modifications that need to be made.
They fucked that ship up.
Yeah.
But truly, by the end of it, it looked more like the Millennium Falcon that we grew up with. It definitely looked like a used universe type of machine, as opposed to how glistening and shiny and brand new it was. And I liked that aspect of it too. Like the inside was like pristine. Like when Lando had it, it was definitely like a pussy wagon. And then by the time that Han got it, it was just he just beat the shit out of it
with his wet bar, which I love that call.
Oh, that was perfect. That was absolutely and I like the fact that like we got to see more of the interior of the Falcon. We got to see the living quarters inside the Falcon this time around.
Yeah,
which was kind of cool. We've never seen that before.
Got to see where the magic happens.
Yeah, and even like they even made kind of a reference to that when Han meets Kira in the chamber, and he's like, "Well, I thought we could talk," and then and he kind of alludes to the bed, and she just kind of smiled at him. And that relationship was quite interesting too. Like
Han and Kira?
Yeah, like I want to know more about her. I want to know more of her backstory. Like what happened in the years between.
She's seen some shit, man.
Apparently, like they mentioned that several times. Like the things that she's done, you would never know.
You'd
never believe it. Like,
I can't even do anything. I was gonna be real dramatic. You wouldn't believe all the shit I've seen.
Yeah, right. But it'd be interesting to see, like, to find out what it is. What did she have to do to survive?
Well, she's definitely a slave. I mean, that's the impression I got. Is
right.
That she's got the slave markings on her wrist. I assume that's what that means.
Yeah. But what is it? Red Dawn, or Red? What was it?
Crimson Dawn.
The Crimson Dawn. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think that was that the name of that gang, or was it a different?
I think that was the name of the gang.
I don't remember. Speaking of interesting relationships, can we talk about Lando and L3?
Sure.
So that's a thing, apparently.
Talk about human cyborg relations.
Yeah. Yeah. So Lando, as it's come out in the media, is pansexual, so they say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on. If you're slinging space dick, you're gonna sling it to anything it'll that's gonna accept. So why not?
Yep, any old USB port in the storm, I guess.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting, and I love the fact that like when they're having, it was weird that they had that little girl talk between her and Kira. In the cockpit, like. Yeah,
it works.
Yeah, Lando's totally into me, but I just don't see him like that. I'm like, what's going on here? What kind of... This is like the first time we've ever had any type of conversation like this in the Star Wars universe.
Yep. And it's between a robot and Lando Calrissian.
Right. Like,
I mean, I guess if it works, it works. Right. I don't... That's...
But yeah, like... But yeah, but like just like when she gets destroyed, like you just see like in Lando how like much that relationship, like whether it be like sexual or just the closeness between the two of them from years of travel together or whatever, like like you could see like how distraught he was at the end of that, when he's holding the remains of her robotic carcass in his arms.
Yeah, it's he's definitely torn up about it. And you would think that with the fact that she is in the Millennium Falcon, you'd think he'd be a little more sentimental with the ship,
right? Than
to continuously try to gamble
it away,
you know what I mean?
Right? Yeah. But when you're that cocky and you think you're always going to win, and you've got the ace up your sleeve, so to say. Like
an unlimited supply of USB ports.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, that is quite interesting, especially since they uploaded her consciousness into the ship, which you would think that like maybe the ship like
would talk.
Yeah, or at least have some kind of communication to the crew.
Yeah.
But then again, like, we don't really see that in any other ship.
Yeah.
In the Star Wars universe. So I guess it would be like
Knight Rider of Star Wars universe.
Yeah, maybe that would have just been a little off brand.
Yeah, I think in the original like expanded universe, if I could be wrong, somebody's going to correct me. But I think there were 3 droids that were uploaded into the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I mean, it's kind of a nod to that that expanded universe, but it's interesting. The Lando's getting it on with the robot.
Yeah.
So.
Like, was there a fleshlight involved? Now I'm kind of curious to see what kind of slash fiction would be written about that, because it's going to be out there.
Yeah, it's
Rule 34.
Hello, what have we here?
Right. Rule 34, no exceptions.
Yeah, no exceptions.
But like, and what did you think of Woody Harrelson's character?
His character?
Yeah,
Beckett?
Yeah, Beckett. Which
I thought it was interesting. I knew he had to die. I mean, that like right off the get-go, you have to know that this dude's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was interesting that Han killed him.
Right.
For sure. I like the character. I mean, I don't know. There wasn't much to dislike. I thought Woody Harrelson did a great job.
Right. But yeah, there was always something seeming under the surface with him.
Yeah.
Like, with our introduction to him, on the battlefield where he, they had stolen some, they stole uniforms. And he's running around. He's like, unless you can heal yourself, those bullet holes tell me that you've stolen that uniform off of the dead man. But they did all that to what? Steal the ship so that they could run the heist. Because they needed the cargo ship to run the heist.
Yeah, I don't know why he was on that planet to begin with.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was to steal the ship to get the to hoist the car off the train. I think that was that was the sole purpose from that.
Oh, being there. Yeah, you're right. They did mention trying to get a specific ship.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, and that armor that the that gang was wearing, God.
Infus Nest, the Cloud Riders.
Yes, like I've seen that. It looked very familiar. Was that used in the comics at all? Or...
Not to, I mean, it's very similar to like some different Mandalorian concept art.
Okay.
It's definitely Star Wars stylistic for sure.
Yes.
I don't know that they've used are you talking specifically Infus Nest? Because they were all different. They were all kind of a little bit different.
Yeah. For her.
Yeah. I think it was. I mean, it's reminiscent of what was his name? General Grievous a little bit. It's kind of a little bit of those tones. Dirge. Mandalorian armor,
right?
Bunch of different stylized versions of it.
Okay, yeah, because it just looked familiar, and I didn't know if it was like, because it almost was reminiscent of that. I've never seen it because I don't watch anime, but like you see it at all the Comic-Cons and stuff like that. But there's that one weird like creature from that movie, Spirited Away.
Okay.
And the face the markings on the mask were very similar, I guess.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was it was similar. Like I could be wrong, but yeah, there was but yeah, I guess that maybe that's why I was looking. It looked very familiar to me. I was like, this is weird.
How did you feel about Infus Nest?
I don't know enough about the character. Like, was that a character that had been brought on, like, from previous, or it was a brand new character for this?
Brand new character.
Okay. I liked the character. I thought it was interesting that they made it seem like they were the beginnings of the rebellion.
Yeah, and that's not the case.
No, I didn't think so. But, like, the way that they presented it in the movie made it seem like they were starting the rebellion.
Yeah, I think it's important. Like, so they were starting a rebellion from their point of view. So the Rebel Alliance is a group of different rebel rebel factions coming together. The alliance is different factions coming together. So then you get people like from the cartoon series Rebels. You get Saw Gerrera. You've got Enfys Nest and the Cloud Riders. So it might have been the start of her rebellion, but you have to keep in mind the rebellion started at the end of episode 3 when Bail Organa started hiding Jedi babies.
Right.
Started aiding and abetting, and Mon Mothma was involved in that. Yoda was involved in that. The rebellion started almost immediately, if not before the Emperor took over. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it's hard to say that that's how the rebellion started. I mean, but it did seem like it was a little bit of a retcon action going on.
Yeah, a little bit. It felt that way. But I liked the character. I thought that she was pretty badass.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would really like to see more of her. You know, maybe
for sure.
in upcoming films.
I'd like to see a Cloud Rider movie.
That would be interesting. Yeah, for sure.
I'd also like to see a Knights of Ren movie and a Praetorian Guard movie and all these cool little side gangs that we never see much of.
Right. Guavian Death Gang.
Yep.
Here's something interesting.
Kanji Club.
Yeah. A Kanji Club? Hey, when have I ever... here's something interesting. Every character that Warwick Davis has played in the Star Wars universe, first name always began with a W.
I knew that. I didn't know.
Did you? I did not.
I am a wealth of useless Star Wars information.
Well, here's something interesting. In IMDb here, it says that in episode 1, he played a character named Wald. Also,
he was the Roydian, the Roydian kid from with Kitster. Kitster was there too.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever Anakin is with all his little friends building the pod.
Gotcha. Yeah, because then he was also credited as pod race spectator and Mos Espa citizen. So
that was the role of Weasel.
That was Weasel? Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right. Because, okay. All right. Okay, that makes sense. All right. But yeah, because who the hell was Woldibin in Jedi? Last Jedi.
Last Jedi.
Yeah. Let's see. Wodibin. Woodibin? That was his character in The Last Jedi.
I'm not picturing it. I knew he was in Rogue One.
Yeah.
But I have not dug deep enough into The Last Jedi, it sounds like.
Interesting. Yeah, I would be interesting to see. Well, maybe I'll watch that tonight after everybody goes to bed. So,
everybody's not in bed already?
Well, my wife just got done doing her mile or 3 on the treadmill, so I'm sure she's already in bed, but the boys definitely. So
nice.
But yeah, interesting. I never knew that about Warwick Davis. That's actually kind of cool.
Wicket, Weasel, Wald, I don't know, all of them.
Yeah. Weetef. That's who he was in Rogue One.
Weetef
QB.
Man, what a cute little guy.
Right? Man. Awesome. So yeah, so it's going to be, goddamn, 18 more months until episode 10.
Yeah.
They better knock this one the fuck out of the park, man.
Yeah. Are we going to talk about the reveal at the end of this film?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I totally spaced on that.
Yeah, I was like, eventually he's going to get around to it. Surely we're going to talk about this.
We will, and don't call me Shirley. So, but yeah, so was that Darth Maul?
It sure was.
Really?
No, it wasn't Darth Maul. It was Maul. Because the minute he was cut in half, he was no longer a Darth.
Okay.
So it is Maul. It's played by Ray Park, who played Maul originally.
Okay.
Voiced by Sam Witwer, who has voiced Darth Maul in the Rebels series.
Did he voice Darth Maul in the movie as well?
Yep. Sam Witwer. No, he didn't voice him in the original movie.
Okay.
He just voiced him in the Rebels cartoon series.
Gotcha.
And he did a phenomenal job. He also Sam Witwer has voiced quite a few people, and he's been in quite a few shows as well.
Okay.
but he's a super awesome Star Wars fan, super knowledgeable.
So do you think this will be the redemption of not necessarily in character, but for the character of Darth Maul?
Okay, so
I know that I've never, like I said, I've not watched the Clone Wars. So
have you watched Rebels?
I've only watched like the first season of Rebels because I do not have XD. So
Maul is in both Clone Wars and Rebels.
Sure.
Do you want spoilers? I guess that's the question I need to ask you.
It's going to probably be a while before I even get a chance to see it.
So we know. So Maul comes back in season 3 of the Clone Wars.
Okay.
He basically wakes up in this trash heap of a planet, and he constructs legs for himself. But there's like 8 mechanical legs. He's like a spider.
Okay.
And it's his torso, but then like these mechanical spider legs. So he comes back, gets basically nursed back to life by the Night Sisters, who are basically the female version of his species.
Okay.
His brother, Savage Opress, like basically retrains him and gets him back, and eventually Savage dies in Clone Wars.
Okay.
He starts bringing all these different organizations together, like Black Sun, who you know from Expanded Universe with like Prince Zizor, and some other like criminal syndicates that he's kind of pulling together, and then that's where the Crimson Dawn comes into play. It's I think Crimson alludes to the skin of Darth Maul's skin, the color of his skin. So Darth Maul. The Crimson Dawn is a new concept that's only from Solo, but him being involved in different crime syndicates is not a new idea. So what happens in Rebels, which is basically 8 years after this film, he comes back and is trying to basically take on Ezra as an apprentice.
Okay.
He wants to basically bring on Ezra, tried to seduce him to the dark side. He's crazy. He's alone, super skinny, and like just a dark, creepy, crazy dude. And then he ends up in a confrontation with Obi-Wan Kenobi, which they've got history from Episode 1.
Sure.
Obi-Wan Kenobi sliced him in half.
Wait, what?
And yeah, in the Phantom Menace, you may have seen it. So he slices him in half, and then at the end of Rebels, I think in the last season or the second to last season, they confront each other again, and Obi-Wan Kenobi kills him dead.
Okay. For realsies this time.
We thought he was dead after Episode 1, so he is pretty convincingly dead, and the official word is that he is dead.
Okay.
So, and in Obi-Wan, it wasn't like some glorious lightsaber duel. Obi-Wan killed him quick and easily.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome considering it wasn't a drawn-out lightsaber battle. He just went choo-choo and dead.
Interesting. So, but even though he was no longer a Sith apprentice, he still retained his powers in the Force, and obviously he kept his lightsaber because he definitely had that. I was like, why are you showing a lightsaber in a hologram? Are you just trying to be menacing and badass? Because it was kind of weird.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of you and me being on Skype and me pulling out a gun and like using it to threaten you. I'm gonna kill you.
Right.
But we're also hundreds of miles apart.
Yeah, right.
I don't know why he did that. Yeah, I don't know. He definitely retains his power in the Force. Throughout Star Wars, there are different instances where people have use of the Force. Rogue One has the
Force
Guardians of the Whills. We've got Ahsoka throughout the Clone Wars or throughout Rebels, where she is no longer a Jedi. She can basically calls herself an independent. Her lightsaber is white. She's got her own little thing going on. So there's definitely especially even in the expanded universe of Force users without the religion aspect of it.
Gotcha. Yeah. But yeah, it was cool that he showed up at the end. I'm like, because I'm looking at him, I'm like, and it's crazy because he looks bigger. He looked bigger, like more muscular, and more hard ass in at the end of Solo.
Yeah, so I saw Ray Park at Star Wars Weekends. Oh, this has been 6-7 years ago. He's a big dude, man.
Really?
He is buff. He has continued to work out. He's a stunt guy still. He had his own like workshop where he would do like stunts and different stuff and would train kids during the week. But he's a big dude, and he's still got it, man. If they ever decide to do a Maul movie of old Maul, he has got it for sure.
It'd be interesting to see them do a Maul of Sons of Dathomir.
Oh yeah, man.
Like I actually read that after you recommended it to me the last time we were on the show, and it was pretty good, man. It was a good series.
Yeah, it's not bad. Not as good as Lando though, but pretty good.
Yeah.
And they did another Maul run since the Marvel.
Yes, and that run was actually pretty damn good as well.
Yeah, I prefer the Dathomir one, but that one wasn't bad too.
Yeah, not bad at all. So and then you put it out there that the what do they call it? The Star Wars the Star Wars celebration is coming to Chicago.
Chicago, yeah, man.
Yeah, which is interesting because like this year C2E2 has been bumped up like super early in March. And I think it's because the Star Wars celebration is coming shortly thereafter.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think the weekend that they would have done C2E2 is actually the weekend that the Star Wars celebration is going to happen. Now, for me, it's like, do I go to C2E2 or do I go to the Star Wars celebration?
I think you got to go to Star Wars celebration, man.
When is it going to come back to Chicago?
Probably never, because they've done it in Anaheim, which is near Disneyland. Yep. They've done it in Orlando, which is next to Disney World. They're definitely floating it around.
They've been to London a few times.
They're not going to be in your backyard ever again. They've been to Indianapolis twice.
They really?
Yep.
I
did not go.
You did not?
No, I did not. I should have. It's one of the biggest regrets of my life, Reuben. It's a very, very sore spot. Yeah, I should have gone, man. At that time, I just wasn't. I wasn't into it as much as I am now. But yeah, I'm gonna try to get up to Chicago for sure. Haven't worked out all the nuts and bolts of it, but I
haven't even gone on sale yet, though, have they?
No.
Nope. Okay.
So
that's definitely something to look into.
Hotel information, but
yeah, it's going to be expensive. I'll let you know that right now. So
yep, I am fully prepared.
Well,
I'm not gonna come up for the whole thing. Probably just for the weekend.
Right. How long does it run for? Is it like a whole week?
It's 4 or 5 days, man.
Damn, how much Star Wars can they fit in 4 or 5 days?
You'd be surprised.
I'd be surprised. Yeah. I mean, there's so much stuff that's out there that I'm not even aware of.
They do panels. They've got comics. They've got web series. They've got books. They got music they can focus on, all kinds of different panels, like the art. Ralph McQuarrie, they've done panels on that. Like, so it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely gonna have to. Yeah, definitely gonna have to look into that one. Definitely. Right on, man. Well, I appreciate you coming back on the show. We're gonna have to do a non-Star Wars themed show here soon.
Yes, indeed, man. So I'm good with Star Wars too. Anytime you want to talk Star Wars, I am there, man.
For sure, man. So
for sure.
But yeah,
so hopefully it won't be a year and a half before I talk to you next.
Absolutely, it better not be. So, all right. So where can people find you?
I am on Twitter at MJ Baysinger. I have a little podcast called Inglorious Pastards, which is a spirituality and dick joke podcast.
You can find them at jizzmuzzle.com.
Jizzmuzzle.com for more information. I'm not even kidding. Go ahead and try it. Yeah, we're on Twitter at Pastards Podcast. We're on IngloriousPastards.com, jizzmuzzle.com. Yeah, those are main Twitter and I'm on Facebook, but I don't have any like public Facebook anything. It's just my personal Facebook. So hit me up on Twitter, though.
Absolutely. And you can find us at Pop Goulash on Twitter, at Pop Goulash, or let's see, Facebook.com/Pop Goulash.
Pop, dirty pop.
Pop Goulash. I've also changed the Instagram handle. You can find me at Pop_Goulash_podcast on Instagram. Ooh. Yeah, I tried to have Pop Goulash, just straight up Pop Goulash, using our Gmail account, which is popgoulash42@gmail.com. And I started adding
42, not 69. Come on,
42. It's the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
Oh, that's fair.
And I started adding all of my friends. Well, somebody flagged,
some would debate that 69 is also the answer to the universe.
This
but
is
go
true.
Ahead.
But somebody flagged the account as being a spam account.
Ah, fuck them.
And they suspended the account, and then you try to get on there to challenge it, and the challenge goes to a dead website. Like, you have to do it through the app. You can't do it online through the Instagram official webpage. You have to do it through the app, and the app takes you to nowhere. It's the worst. So I had to go with Pop Goulash Reuben for a while on my personal, and then I just switched it over. Now it's the Pop_Goulash_podcast on Instagram.
Thanks, Mark Zuckerberg, for ruining everything.
Fucking prick. Anyway, for Pop Goulash this week, I am Reuben.
And I am Michael.
Be kind to one another.
May the force be with you.
Excellent.